Hey guys, I'm Angela and welcome back to Hobby Night. This week in Warhammer news, GW is putting some money behind some animation projects, including some that actually support the Xeno races, which is awesome. In this month's White Dwarf, we're getting 12 free video games, which I'm super hyped about because some of them are really good. And we get a look at what's coming in the next Warzone book. So without further ado, let's jump into this week's Warhammer news. Now, before we get to those other headlines, I want to talk about BeLakor, because they revealed the full miniature, and oh my god, he is so glorious. I cannot wait for him to be out. So it's very interesting. There's some things that I noticed about the footage that they showed of him to us. He doesn't quite look full greater demon size to me, but he obviously is not the same scale as a demon prince either. So I'm very, very interested to see what his stats are gonna look like, what his rules are gonna look like, and what base size ultimately he's gonna end up on, because I just don't know where he's gonna fall. But that miniature is just astounding. I love it. It's so good. I know it's kind of a somewhat generic demon posing and everything, because he is just the Satan of the 40k verse essentially, but actually not even just the 40k verse, he's in fantasy too. Speaking of which, he has two base options, which I think is a nice touch that they've done. They've given you one that makes it very Age of Sigmar themed or Old World themed, because it's got, I think, a Chaos Warrior or something on the base. And then of course they gave us a brand new Primaris Lieutenant to have dead upon his base to represent the 40k verse. I think this is fantastic. I will probably be using that base when I paint him, because of course I'll make it a Hobby Night Primaris Lieutenant. For some reason, my boys keep getting slain by these demons and everything, and all these chaos guys. We really need to work on that. But regardless, this miniature looks super cool. I love the chains and stuff across his wings. They make me very nervous to see how they attach in painting them, because they're gonna probably be delicate. So that'll be interesting, but it's gonna be so good, you guys. Let me know what you think in the comments below.
Oh, hey, didn't see you guys there. Well, while you're here, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the video.
There were a number of fan projects recently that have been funded by GW officially. Astartes is one of them. If you guys have not seen it, is a fantastic animation following some Space Marines, fighting some Chaos guys. It's glorious. It is up on the, I believe, Warhammer community site and their YouTube page now in 4K, which is awesome, because when they first released it, it was only in 720, which was very weird because this is a really stunning animation and you just shouldn't put it up at that resolution. But it's fixed now and it looks amazing. There have been a couple of changes. I believe the music has been changed in the animation from what it was previously, but I believe that was for copyright reasons, so it sort of makes sense. It's a shame, but that is something that is going to happen. I do look forward to seeing what the creator of Astartes produces for GW going forward. I'm gonna be very curious to see if they allow him to keep with the really grim, dark, visceral violence that he had in some of his animations, because they could get pretty gory. And I just don't know with how GW has been taking their stuff currently, if they want to quite go that graphic. So it'll be very interesting to see what he produces for them and how things continue. I'm very excited for it. Now, Astartes is not the only thing that they picked up though. No, they picked up another piece that is called the Exodite, which I believe is being worked on by Lost Legion Studios, which is another fan community, I believe. And it is going to be focusing on the Tau, specifically a expeditionary force of the Tau going to a new world to bring the greater good to them. But I believe they're going to end up running into some Imperium as well as other Xeno races to end up combating. Now, I myself am not a huge fan of the Tau. I think their suits and everything are very cool, but I just have never really gotten into them. There's nothing that has ever really been produced by GW or anyone else really, in my experience, that has sort of really gotten me interested in them. So with this project, I'm actually hoping that it maybe shows me how cool they are, really gets me behind them and everything, because I really do like certain aspects of them. I've just never been really into their lore, and I'm hoping this shows me just how cool the greater good can be. Now, those are the two main ones that I think came out, but there are two other animations that they showed off too. One is going to be called Primaris the Last Templar, and that is going to be produced by PaxelArt, which is going to be, I think, around a Black Templar group and following that particular faction, which is really cool. I really like the Black Templar, and so I'm really excited for this animation, and anything with, you know, cool Space Marine heroic stuff happening is always awesome. And then there is the last one, which is called Iron Within, and it's being produced by Codex Film. And this one is going to be I don't know if it's like what the full story is or anything. All I know is that it's going to have combat between the Iron Warriors and the Drukarhi. And that just seems really cool. Like, I feel like Iron Warriors don't get focused on a lot, at least in my experience in the lore and everything, or in some of their like side projects. And the Drukarhi, certainly, like Xeno races, just they get thrown out all the time. So I'm really excited to see a couple of different things that are featuring some Xeno, as well as some less used Space Marine chapters, because like we see tons of stuff with like the Ultramarines and everything, and even like Blood Angels and Dark Angels, like the really common ones. So it's cool to see them go to a different direction and support these awesome projects. Let's talk about the Book of Rust, Warzone Charadon. I think that's how it's pronounced. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. I might be. But this book is coming out, and I am super hyped for it because there are a number of really cool things coming in here, and I have a little bit of a list. So not only is there going to be a bunch of new lore, there's also going to be some new campaign rules that are going to tie into the flashpoint from, I believe, White Dwarf issue 460 or so, where Typhus was, I think, in this war zone, specifically in doing stuff. So there's going to be campaign rules that are going to tie into that, which is really cool because like anything that ties into the Death Guard, I'm always very excited for. But there's also going to be new Crusade rules, and there are going to be some specific for Death Guard as well as some other factions as well. So that is really neat as well. But the thing that had me the most excited when we got to see the preview of the table of contents on Warhammer Community's site is the fact that in the army lists, there was an army that they did not talk about in the preview at all, called the Army of Renowned, Terminus Est, Assault Force, Fester Discipline. That to me tells me that it is an Assault Terminator force directly from the flagship of the Death Guard, the Terminus Est, which just is really cool on like just a lore and just like thematic level. And I'm really, really into my Terminators right now. I would love to have an entire like army list that is built and has rules, you know, for it that really affect Assault Terminators. Like I'm so excited. I can't wait to see what this book has in store for those. There's also a number of other army things in there too. I think there's some Knight stuff, some Mechanicus, some Drukarhi, and I think there's one other one, I can't remember what it is. So there are some other really cool things in there, but of course, I really, really just want to know about that Terminator like list and all those rules because they're so good, you guys. They're really, really good. I really want to play another game with them because I haven't got to in a little while. And maybe when this book comes out, maybe we'll do one of the campaign things in there and I'll run this Terminator list. It means I'll have to paint some more Terminators, but that's okay because I want to. A brief bit of news as an update to those heavy Intercessors that we've talked about for a couple weeks now. We have an official month that they're coming out, May. They will be out May 2021. They haven't said an official, like, it'll be May X on this date, but they're coming soon, which is great. Honestly, like, it's not a fully simultaneous release, but at least they're getting it out relatively quickly to basically allow people who just want to bulk purchase those Intercessors or the flayed ones, because honestly, like, the flayed ones are pretty cool. I'm actually more excited for those, but I have Necrons in the house, so we really like the Necrons. But yeah, I'm excited for it. I look forward to them coming out. Let me know how many boxes you'll be picking up. Last but not least this week, certainly not least, in next month's White Dwarf, you can get a hold of 12 free Warhammer video games. And while there are some like games on the list, there are a number that are actually really good. And I'm gonna go over them now because I definitely think as many people as they can should pick up this magazine for these games. So first of all, you're getting Space Marine. Fantastic game. Absolutely like gorgeous looking. I love it. It's got a fun campaign. Go play it. It's amazing. You're getting it free in the next month, White Dwarf. So if you're subscribed, awesome. You're also getting Total War Warhammer 1. No, it is not the second one, but Total War Warhammer 1 is great, and it's going to be including a, I think the Beastman expansion, which adds a lot of content to the game. So, and then if you decide to buy Total War Warhammer 2 later on yourself, I believe some of that transfers over and you get those characters in that game. So like, it's great all around, like just, Total War Warhammer, I love it. I can't wait for 3 to come out. 2 is fantastic, 1 is great. Get the magazine. Then you're also getting Vermintide 2. Like just Vermintide 2. Also like it's just a stellar game. I love playing Vermintide 2. It'll also allow you to say practice for when Darktide comes out because they look like they're going to be very similar games in that sort of Left 4 Dead style of mechanic of like things are just coming at you, you have missions, etc. It looks really cool. It's going to tie or it'll help you practice for that. It's also just really pretty. And if you want something that just like really gets you into that old world fantasy vibe, Vermintide is right in that setting. It's so good. I love it. And that's not the only, like, that's not the end of the list. You also are getting the Game of the Year edition of Dawn of War 1, which is a fantastic RTS if you haven't played it.
I will crush them beneath my inquisitorial boots. Yes!
It's got great voice acting. You've probably heard them use like clips from this video game used in YouTube videos like across the board. It's really good. Those games alone, like those are the ones that I like wrote down as like, dang, I can't believe you're getting that and that and that and that. Like those ones alone are great. I think you're also like, you get a digital copy of Talisman. So if you want to play like the board game Talisman, that's great. I think there's some Underworlds games in there, which I've heard mixed things about, but it might be a good way to try Underworlds before you commit to actually buying the game. So that's fantastic. And yeah, I think it's a really good, like, it's a good magazine. Like when they do this and they give you like a bunch of free content like that of other projects that they've worked on with other companies and everything, like, I think it's really cool. I think it's definitely going to be a great bundle. I own all of those games already, so like this free package won't necessarily benefit me, but if you don't have any of those, this is a great time to be able to just grab them for a very, very like reasonable price. All right, that has been this week in Warhammer news. Make sure to check back next week when we have the full preview and I give my thoughts on the Faith and Damnation preview that GW is going to be having out on Saturday. So I'm looking forward to that. I hope we get a look at a bunch of cool new miniatures because I always love when we get to just look at the cool new minis because it's my favorite part of this hobby. I like painting them. They're so cool. I can't wait for it. But not only that, that'll be next week, but Monday, part 2 of Abaddon the Despoiler will be up, and I am incredibly happy with how he came out. I achieved a new level of painting for myself, and I'm very, very excited to share it with you. So make sure to check that video out as well. I have been Angela. Thank you guys so much for watching another Hobby Night episode. I'll see you guys next time. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all of that stuff. Bye, guys.